Hey man, does this Bears embarrassment that we've been living through, and the culmination is Thanksgiving Day, like how does the Bears embarrassment affect you? How has it affected you in your life?
Well, to get where you're going, you got to do some things that you haven't done before. And obviously, Bears brass and management, they were clearly unhappy with the way that things went. And, it's how we all felt from allowing the Washington Commanders to get a 15-yard out and then getting Jaden Daniels with a rib injury and Hail Mary range. Next thing you know, you drop the next six, I believe, is what it is, guys. You take some of those L's, you put them into W's. We're talking about a Chicago Bears team that's knocking on the door of the playoffs here with a quarterback that is playing as well as anybody as I can remember in their rookie year. We're lucky to have Caleb Williams. That is the silver lining. We've got the quarterback. But at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm part of the team, and it can be frustrating some days. But man, oh man, it's great to be a fan and have a team that I root for.
What was it like for you to watch what happened on Thursday?
It was frustrating. It was relatable because I've been in these situations at the end of the game. And luckily, as an offensive lineman, my only job was go get on the line of scrimmage. There's no formational differences. I don't have to be on the ball, off the ball. I go get set. I think the most frustrating thing is whether it's somebody in the booth, somebody on the sideline, or somebody on the field not calling a timeout after the loss of yards there where Caleb went down. You got to burn a timeout, reset, give your offense an opportunity to go down the field, because one thing we've seen from Caleb is as long as there's time on the clock, we have a chance. And we saw that clock dwindle down extremely rapidly from, I believe it was 36 seconds. It was it was tough to watch. It was frustrating to watch. Even my wife is burning a timeout on the couch. And yeah.
Kyle, he's good, man. Caleb in the fourth quarter, when teams often know you are trying to pass, and so you're not getting the benefit sometimes of play action and and fronts that are designed to stop the run. He's got a 98.8 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter. What do you feel like you're seeing from him, especially late in games these last six or so?
I just see a dude, man. I see the guy that was advertised as coming out of Southern California. And there were a lot of people who have been scarred from their past as football fans who are quick to say, he won't be able to do what he did in college. This isn't college. This is the league. These are men. Well, I'll tell you what, he makes some of those men look like boys when he's out there playing. He's having fun. It's fun to watch him. But to my point earlier, the guy, if there's time on the clock, he's going to give you an opportunity to win the football game. We have a dude that can make it so we're never out of a ball game. And it's so much fun to be a Bears fan now. And obviously there's been so much that's gone on over the course of the last 2 months, but we are moving in the right direction. I'm so excited to see what direction we go.
Have you got any intel on Thomas Brown, the interim coach? Has anyone said anything to you about him?
I haven't bothered anybody from Chicago at all. But from what I've seen, seems like the guy's saying the right things, and the guys have clearly responded. And when you watch a football team play the way they have, particularly in the second half of football games, it tells me that he's smart enough to make an adjustment. The guys have bought into what he's preaching. And I'll tell you what, I was looking at the clips from the old Walter Payton Center today in Lake Forest, Illinois, and the guy had a really nice head coach practice outfit as well. So he's got that going for him too. That aura that Caleb Williams talked about, you can kind of see it there. He's got a little bit of the swag, and it's something we've been missing for quite some time in Chicago.
What was the practice outfit? I'm sorry, Lawrence. It get me curious.
He had the Letterman jacket on with the hoodie under it, the ball cap. He looked. There's maybe, it looks the part to me.
Understood.
So Kyle, considering what's gone on here and the way that players have reacted to it from everything that's been public, and I'm sure you probably know more stuff than we do about how all this stuff has gone down. If you were in that locker room now, what are the things that you would want to hear from Thomas Brown to get through these next 5 games?
I don't know if there's anything I'd want to hear from Thomas Brown, but what I would want to preach to the guys around me, the guys that are looking to make a name for themselves, is that this rocket ship is going places. And this is your opportunity now to solidify your chance to be on that rocket ship next year when it leaves the launch pad. Because as we all know, it's a quarterback-driven league. And if you do have a quarterback, you have a shot. So there are going to be guys working their tails off to show out in these last couple of weeks to be able to have an opportunity to play for next year's team, because I think they all have the inkling in that building that something special is brewing.
They've been preaching culture for 3 years, 2.5 years, and they were proud of the culture, and they kept Matt Eberflus because of the culture. But we see so many things, man, so many players acting undisciplined. We see a dude getting cut or they signed to a big money deal on that offensive line. We see all kinds of examples of bad culture. How do you build good culture? What's the key to doing that? Because they obviously didn't do it.
I mean, I don't know if I'm the guy that can sit here and talk to you about building a good culture, but I can just say you want to get as many glass eaters as you can in a building and just cut them loose on your enemy. I mean, you go watch a team like the Detroit Lions, and they have, they're seeing red every time that they're on the field. And in order to match that production, in order to get that kind of intensity, that kind of team winning mindset, it takes a lot of football players. And as you guys know, we're going to have more than an ample opportunity to acquire those with the money that we have available to us as the Chicago Bears organization, our draft picks, and then the leaders we have in the building already, which I think we have some really good leaders on both sides of the football.
Kyle Long joining us here for a few minutes as we talk about the Bears and kind of where things stand with them right now. I like that you're so bullish on this, that you're excited about what you're seeing from Caleb, and you think that I love your perspective of looking at this as opportunity. I wrote down the rocket ship that's going places. What are the things organizationally that the Bears can do to keep that type of high energy and momentum going that matches some of the stuff that we are seeing on the field, regardless of win or loss?
Well, I think the line of scrimmage is going to be the big priority for the Chicago Bears. And I was surprised that it wasn't even more of a priority for Ryan Poles, who obviously was an offensive lineman himself. His right-hand man, Ian Yates-Cunningham, he played offensive line at the University of Virginia when my brother was there. I know these guys understand the importance of offensive line. And to kind of hear Ryan Poles hint at the fact that he knows even more now what's important for a franchise to have success, it speaks volumes about what I think that they're going to do. And I think that they will make less sexy picks and more sturdy picks. And these sturdy picks can carry your team throughout the entire season.
Boy, this whole season has been like a confirmation of that, isn't it? You look all around the league, the best offenses are running the ball. The best offenses are...
Would you look at that?
They are, man. And
would you look at that?
They're mean, they're feisty, and the running dictates the possibilities and the passing, and it's like...
Kyle, they're out there running duo. They're double-teaming guys. It's great.
I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles play, and there's a guy by the name of Mekhi Becton who's playing right guard, and he has played an awesome brand of football on the inside of the offensive line for them this year. And obviously Saquon Barkley's amazing, and Stoutland's a great coach, and they've got a lot of really good players. But a guy like Mekhi Becton can make your season because he was an offensive tackle, dealt with injuries. Stoutland gets him in the building. He moves inside to guard, and now he's an ass kicker next to one of the best right tackles in football. Now that right side is bulletproof, and you can focus on Juergens in the middle, Dickerson over there, and Mailata, obviously the guy from Oceana coming over 6'8" and runs a 4.6. Just go get a bunch of ass kickers, and I promise you, like that old Men's Warehouse commercial, you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh was asked in the offseason, how are they going to make Justin Herbert better? You remember what he said? We're going to get We're going to get him a running game. That's what he said. And boom, look at that. The numbers for Justin Herbert are down, but the Chargers are better, and Herbert's fine with that. I think we saw an example in this town with the OC who's no longer here of these play collectors, these dudes who are obsessed with showing you how cute their plays are and how fancy they can be instead of just beating the hell out of people in a violent game. Let's finally get somebody who understands that.
Yeah, well, I'll take you elsewhere in the nation, in Kansas City, a team that is primed to go make a run at a three-peat. And what's the only thing that's going to hold them back right now, in my opinion? It's the offensive tackle position. So even the people that there are haves and have-nots in this league, even the people that have want more. So build a farm of linemen, and their value goes up exponentially as the season goes on. You can always get rid of these guys if you need stuff elsewhere. And they're always going to be valuable offensive linemen, because if you don't have linemen, you cannot win in this league.
It's true. And I love that we have come back to a place. It's so weird too, Kyle, because I feel like we had gotten to this place where the quants, and I'm a bit of a quant. I love to look at stuff from an analytical standpoint, try to tell you that running backs aren't valuable. And now we see that if used properly, a lot of running backs can be valuable, whether you're talking about dual threat guys, or if you're saying, here's King Henry, here's Saquon, here's Josh Jacobs. If you figure out how to run the ball, those guys can be difference makers. So I love that there is a feistiness that there's an equilibrium that's happened here, where some of these offensive coaches have now figured out, well, wait, I don't have to go with that whole idea that running backs aren't valuable. If we've got the right tools up front, you can make plays.
Yeah, you can make plays. And if you don't have an offensive mastermind, like let's say Matt LaFleur or Kyle Shanahan, then you're going to need a really good running back. And I look at San Francisco and the way they started the football season. It was Jordan Mason, it was Isaac Guerrero. These guys are hitting their head on the goalpost every third carry. And it's because they went and got that right guard, Dominic Puny. Obviously, they have a kick-ass left tackle in Trent Williams. You get Dominic Puny. Now you're able to run front side, back side. You can get the second level linebacker cut off with great leverage. Dominic Puny does a great job. Kyle Shanahan puts them in position to have that kind of success. But you mentioned Derrick Henry, you mentioned Saquon Barkley. I don't think those are great use cases, because those are the exceptions.
Well, that's why I brought up Josh Jacobs too.
So I was going to give you credit here, Lawrence. I was going to give you credit. Josh Jacobs is a stalwart, and he's a guy that you can ride right into the postseason and as far as you want to go. And I think that, coupled with LaFleur's genius on the offensive side of the ball, particularly in the run game, and not having guys out leveraged and having jobs that are easily done, having jobs that are less difficult to do for offensive linemen, it gives you a chance. And they've invested in their offensive line. So what we see in Green Bay is when Jordan Love's banked up, when you have question marks in the passing game, you can rely on that running game. As for Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, that's mom, dad, and God touching those guys and just saying, you're different. You know what I'm saying? And you pair that with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, those two tight ends, obviously. Zay Flowers, a real superstar in Baltimore. And there's too many things to look at for a defense. Oh, you know what? Now Derrick Henry has the ball running full speed on stretch down my throat. That's a problem. Saquon Barkley is one of the best athletes on the planet, regardless of sport. You pair that, like I said earlier, with that offensive line, it's a potent combination. So keep building in the trenches, and I think you can have success.
Who's your favorite Bears offensive lineman, if you have one?
Tevin Jenkins.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised by that.
Not
Why do you
all.
love Tevin?
I love Tevin Jenkins because he's a natural-born protector, and it seems as if he's a really nice young man. But as you and I know, that you have to be able to flip a switch when you're on the football field. And unfortunately, I had to deal with a lot of injuries when I played, some preventable, some not. And I hope for nothing but the best of health for Tevin Jenkins, because he plays the game the way it should be played. P2 would be Darnell Wright. I mean, he's just an absolute bear. He washes the line of scrimmage down on the backside, and I think that there's a tremendous amount of value there.
I think that you're an all-time switch flipper, because like Kyle is like the nicest guy. And then you see him like anytime, like during practice or right before a game, you're like, oh, crazy person. And then you see him when he gets off the field and you're like, oh, just a sweetie. And it's
my therapist would say I'm just dealing with a lot. Okay.
well, what's amazing is that it's a family of y'all. Chris is the same way. Your dad is the same way, where it's like, look at these really nice men. And then you put a helmet on them and it's like, oh my God, I'm terrified.
Again, it's hard to snap out of that once you get into life after football. But luckily, I get to work on CBS every Sunday morning. I do the pregame show, and I'm around like-minded people. You know, J.J. Watt's in the building, Matt Ryan, Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson. The list goes on and on and on. You feel like you're in the locker room. The only thing we're not doing is beating each other up. But we are talking football. I do get to scratch that itch. And it's fun, but nothing matches playing. Nothing matches playing.
You tweeted about a Dan Lanning speech that you were watching, and you were like, "Oh my God, I want to get back out there." It's just so you got another game in you. You got another few plays in you. Doug Buffone always used to say he had one play left in him at any time, just one play, but he'd kick your ass with it.
I could guarantee I could go out there and play right now, but I got 2 little daughters at home, and I made my wife a promise that when we got pregnant with the first, right after Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase went for like 400 yards against the Chiefs in 2019 or 2021, I think that was, or something like that. You have to remind me. When Joe Burrow beat Patrick at Arrowhead, my wife and I found out that we were pregnant, or my wife was pregnant, and they invited me back, and I said, I'm going to go home. And now, obviously, it's too late to turn back now, but I got a good thing at home, and I'm really happy and lucky to have the situation I do.
Kyle, I have mentioned Dan Lanning as a person that's on my list, and I think people think that I'm kidding about that, and I am not. What do you know about Dan Lanning?
What I know about Dan Lanning is that I would run through a brick wall for that guy. And when you watch him and the way, so you can learn a lot about these coaches just by watching their teams play. And they are a violent, physical, talented group.
Hey, Kyle, I'm glad you didn't flip the switch, but if you wanted to, I understand. When I called you Carl at the beginning of this interview, how many guards are the face of a franchise, Carl? Kyle? I called you Carl, dude. Like, you know, you're in media now. You know how it is sometimes when you got a few too many things going on in your head. Oh, boy.
I think he hung up on us because you
called him I'm here.
Carl.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Right. Yeah, you're there. Yeah, so let me apologize and thank you for not flipping the switch when I called you Carl instead of Kyle.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It happens.
How many guards are the face of a franchise, Carl? Kyle?
That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Kyle, we love you, man. Thanks so much for being on the show. Let's talk again soon, okay?
Hey, good seeing you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate it.